So we'll just start in our resting pose, and that can either be your Supta Baddha Konasana, which is on your back, or in child's pose, just to get started. We'll get nice and comfy. We'll start to let go of the day. Today was a beautiful day, and I hope that it was beautiful and enjoyable for you as well. I managed to escape to the ocean for a couple of hours, so that was really nice. It was nice to just have the sun on my skin and listening to the water. So I call that vitamin C. So we're just settling into our body, just noticing the breath for now. Nothing to change yet. Just starting to notice. And maybe do a little body scan. Notice what's happening in your body right now. If there's any extra tension, is there any place that you can start to let go and that we can just continue to let go throughout the practice? Any areas of tension or any aches or things like that, of course, you can always let me know and make a special request. I'm just tuning into the breath. Notice the way your belly expands and contracts with every inhale and exhale. And if you're on your back, notice the way your belly rises and falls with your breath. Just feeling at home in your body, in your home, in your flesh home. Maybe even entertaining some thoughts of gratitude that we are all healthy right now. Thank goodness. Just allow yourself to melt a little bit, and at the same time, maybe just start deepening the breath. Getting a little more oxygen to the brain. Softening the belly even more. We're not holding anything. We want to really give it the freedom to expand and take in as much fresh air as possible with our inhales. And then noticing the way it contracts to get rid of the exhales, getting rid of all the stuff that our body doesn't need. In gas form, of course. And then if possible, maybe even allowing your exhalation to be a little bit longer than your inhalation. So doing that consciously and intentionally. And notice how it feels for you to intentionally extend your exhalations. Is it easy for you? Is it a little bit of a struggle? Just notice what comes up, if there's any resistance there or not. And slowly, from wherever you are, we are going to start to very slowly and gently make our way up from wherever we are. So if you're on your back, maybe roll over to one side first and take your time coming up. And we'll all meet sitting on our heels to start. So before we settle down to sitting on our heels, we're going to come back up and make sure that we're going to sit on toes. So we're going to bring the big toes together and spread all the toes out and then come back to sit on the heel with the toes curled underneath, which is, I know, everybody's favorite. But we're doing it. Look at us, we're doing it. And if possible, to sit up straight. But if not, of course, you can have a block nearby to shift your weight a little bit. And for today, again, let's just notice the breath as always, but let's notice the feet right now too, and notice if it's different than last time, or if there is more or less intensity. I'm definitely feeling a difference from last time, the last time I did this. So just something to notice. You know, if you are noticing a difference, have you been on your feet more or less? Have you been walking or not? What shoes you were wearing, that kind of stuff. And just noticing what the tension level is right now in the feet. And stay steady with the breath. So if it does become a bit intense, just come back to the breath. And of course, you can always lean forward slightly to alleviate some of the intensity. Full deep breaths. And then we're just going to come forward briefly and tap the toes. Get the circulation back, and then we'll come back to sit on heels, and then we'll slide off the heels and we'll come into an easy seat. So if you like to have a blanket underneath your hips for your easy seat, I invite you to do that. And you can either sit cross-legged or maybe one heel in front of the other. Just whatever feels easy for you today. And we're going to sit up straight. Notice the spine. And if you're not sure, just bring your awareness to the crown of your head and maybe lift the crown of the head slightly. And notice if you can get any more length in your spine just doing that. Full deep breaths. Eyes can be opened or closed here. And we're going to start with some half neck rolls. And what I mean by that is we're not rolling all the way around, but we're going to start with inhaling. And then as we exhale, we're going to let the chin fall to the chest. On your next inhale, you're just going to roll the head up one side until you feel like your ear is coming parallel with the shoulder. And then when you're ready to exhale, you'll turn the head and look down and exhale back to center. And then at your own pace, you'll come up the other side with the next inhale. So whether your breath is faster or slower than mine, doesn't matter. We're going to do a few of these. And you're going to go at your pace and your breath. And I'll just repeat the instructions. So we inhale and we roll up one side. And then as we exhale, we roll right back to center. Inhaling up the other side. And then again, exhaling back to center. And notice which muscles are getting the stretch here. You will notice things will shift and change as you come up one side and then you turn to look down before rolling your head back to center. You will notice another little different group of muscles that are taking the stretch. So maybe even bring your awareness to that. Notice if one side is different than the other or tighter than the other. And we'll do 2 more rounds of this, and then we'll meet back in a neutral spine with our heads just back to where we started. Then from here, we'll inhale again. And as we exhale, we're going to let the head gently fall over to the right. And then place the right arm just up and over, resting on the head very lightly. So a little bit of assistance here. And we're going to take the opposite arm behind our back. Now, if you're okay here, just stay here and breathe. If it's too much, either release one hand or the other. Either one will take off a little bit of the pressure. And while we're here, we're breathing full deep breaths. And then we're going to turn the head and look down. And your arm can stay on top of the head as you do that. But again, we're just noticing the difference here, the side muscles versus some of the back muscles here. And then we'll slowly roll the head back up. And then back up to center, releasing both of the arms. And then one more inhale. And as we exhale, we'll tip our head over to the other side. So for you, it will be the left, and we'll take the left arm and just place it over our heads very gently. And then we'll take the right arm behind our back. And then when you're ready, turn and look down. Again, keeping the hand on top of the head. If you need that little bit of extra, but you may not, so feel it out. Breathing fully and deeply here. And then we'll slowly release the hands, turn the head right back up, and then back to center again. Beautiful. And we'll take the hands in front and tent the fingers into potted palm. And keeping the hips on the mat or on your blanket, we're going to start to walk the arms forward very gently and slowly till you start to feel some traction and length in the spine. Tuck the chin a little bit so that you can get more length in the cervical spine, and only go as far as you can comfortably go. And once you feel the hips start coming off of the blanket or the mat, then you want to go maybe back out a little bit. And you can even press your fingers into the mat and press the hips back down. So just to keep that in mind, the arms are stretched out in front, and we'll take some full deep breaths, getting some length in the spine, a little bit of space between the vertebrae. Feel free to use your Ujjayi breath here. And notice if your body wants to go a little bit further after the first couple of breaths. Maybe you can get a little more length, and maybe not, just feel it out. And then we'll slowly start to walk the hands back. We'll come back to sit tall. Notice any difference here, if that felt good. And then we'll inhale the left arm up, and we'll take the right hand out to the side on the mat, just on fingertips for now, and we'll start to walk the arm out to the side. And then at some point, you can press your palm into the mat so that the ribs will get a little more of a stretch, and then you can start to bend the arm as you lean even more towards the right. Taking your time. If it feels right for you to bend the elbow, go ahead and do so. Make sure both hips are still square on the mat. Full deep breaths. Really feel that stretch all along the left side of the body. And then as you inhale, as you exhale, you're going to turn and look down. So we're doing what we did with the neck earlier, and this is going to get into some of those shoulder blade muscles. And feel free to search for that spot that you like. So the whole upper body is turning down towards the mat. And along the way, you might find a spot that you really like, and you can stay right there and breathe into that. And on your next inhale, gently pressing that arm into the floor, and we're going to reach up and over with the left arm. And then we'll inhale the right arm up and over. Sorry, up, not over yet. And then we'll start to walk the opposite arm out to the side. And then once you get far enough where you know this is probably about where you're going to be, you're going to press the palm into the mat so that the ribs will get more stretch. And then that right arm is up and over. Full deep breaths here. And then on your next exhale, we're going to turn and look down. And now you're reaching forward with that right arm. You're reaching forward as the shoulder blade in the back participates in the stretch. Again, just noticing if one side's different than the other. And then on the next inhale, we're going to press that left arm into the mat and reach up and over with the right. We'll come all the way around. Hands can just sit at the tops of the thighs. And then we'll inhale the left arm up one more time. And we'll cross over to the right knee and gently twist over and look to the right, looking over the right shoulder. But don't twist too much, just a little bit. Just a little early twist. And on your next exhale, very gently release, come back to center. And then once you're in center, we'll inhale the right arm up. And then we'll exhale and cross over the left and gently twist and look over the left shoulder. Full deep breaths. Lift the chest slightly as you inhale and twist as you exhale. Then on your next exhale, very gently release, and we'll turn back towards the front one more time. And then we'll take the hands to the front of the shins. We'll do some sitting cat-cow, and we're going to lead with the chest. So just imagine the whole rib cage pressing forward as we inhale, leading with the chest and the chin, and then collapsing sorry, I lost my train of thought. Collapsing the chest, chin to chest here, around the back as you exhale, using the legs as leverage, and then inhaling forward again. You can even go forward and then up if you'd like. And then rounding the back as you exhale. So we're getting a nice undulation here. And again, going at your own pace, synchronizing your breath with the movement. And we'll do a few rounds here. And just like all the others, you can go as fast or as slow as you'd like. Slow is always good because you can feel things a little bit more. But sometimes it also depends on your state of mind that day. Maybe it's just not possible for you to slow down that much, and that's fine too, because you'll slow down by the end. We'll do 2 more, and then we'll meet in a neutral spine. And then once you're in your neutral spine, take your time here. We're gonna move the body forward into tabletop. So with the legs crossed, you'll just move forward. We're gonna come onto hands and knees, and if you need a blanket or anything at all underneath your knees, go ahead and do that now. A little extra support. Keep my blocks nearby. So from tabletop, just check to make sure that the knees or hips width apart, the arms or shoulders width apart, wrists under, elbows under shoulders. And we're gonna reach back with the right foot, and we already stretched our toes, so we'll come to the ball of the foot. Gaze is past the mat, and we're gonna press the right heel back and breathe. Get a nice stretch in the calf, a little bit in the hamstrings. Full deep breaths. And then we'll take the right leg behind the left, come to the outer edge of the foot, look over the left shoulder. Notice where you feel this, if you're feeling it more in the hip, in the lower back, along the whole side body. And then release and bring the right leg back to starting. And then we'll take the left leg out and come to the ball of the foot. And we'll do the same on this side. We'll start to press the heel back, keeping the gaze just past the mat. Noticing the feeling of stretch here. It may be more evident in the calf because we're not stretching our calves a lot. Full deep breaths. We'll take the left leg behind the right, look over the right shoulder, breathe. Notice where you feel it on this side, if it's similar or different than the other side. And again, if you're feeling this in the low back or maybe more in the IT band or in the rib cage. And then slowly release, bring the left foot back, making sure the legs or hips width apart. Then we'll take the right leg back and up. And we can stay here and breathe, or if it feels okay, we'll take the left hand forward. We'll reach forward with the left arm while we're reaching back with the right leg. You're gonna stretch and pull, and if it's available to you and you're up for it, we'll bend the right knee, reach back, take the foot or ankle, and breathe. As always, this is just an option. You don't have to take it unless it's feeling right today. Release the ankle or foot if you did take it, and then we'll continue to reach forward with the left arm and reach back with the right leg. One more full deep breath. And then on your exhale, we'll release everything back to starting. Take another full inhale and exhale. And then on your next inhale, we'll take the left leg back. Check in with the hips. Make sure you're not hiking one hip up higher than the other. And if it feels okay and you're ready, you can take the right arm out. So we'll reach forward with that right arm while reaching back with the left leg. Breathing fully and deeply. And then bending the left knee and reaching back, taking the foot or ankle. Again, only if it's available. And it's only an option. And if you did take the foot or ankle, think about how you can open up the chest a little bit more. Maybe that right shoulder can open up towards the ceiling a little bit. So get a little more stretch in the chest. And then release the ankle or foot and reach forward again with the right arm. A couple more breaths. And then slowly release. Everything comes back to hands and knees one more time. And then let's take the knees a little wider and the toes together. We'll come into a child's pose with the arms outstretched. Then lift the head slightly, walk the arms over to the right, as far as you can comfortably go, and then lower the forehead again and breathe. Then lift the forehead off the mat, and we're going to walk the arms back to center and then keep going all the way over to the left. Lower the forehead again. And let's lift the head up off the mat and come back to center. We'll come to hands and knees, and just, if you have a blanket, move the blanket out of the way. We're going to come all the way down onto our belly. We'll start in Sphinx pose. So we'll take the legs a little bit wider than normal. Press the toes into the mat, so that means you'll be engaging the thighs, and the elbows should be underneath your shoulders, so we're trying to make a right angle with the arms. Forearms are pressing down on the mat. Fingers are spread wide. And then we're trying to pull, well, we're not really, but we're pulling on the mat so it feels like we're trying to pull the chest, the whole upper body between the arms. And at the same time, we're pressing those forearms down and lifting the chest and the crown of the head up. So there's a lot going on here, right? We're pressing down with the forearms and the legs, and then we're pulling forward with the chest and lifting the crown of the head. So a lot of different forces happening. And of course, we're breathing through it because we're awesome. We're getting a nice back bend in the upper back here. And then on your next exhale, we'll slowly lower down. And then bring the arms out by our sides. Again, right angles here, except that they are fingers tented on the floor and the elbows are pointed up towards the ceiling. And then we'll press down into the fingertips and lift up with the upper body as we inhale. And then as we exhale, we're going to dip the left shoulder and look underneath the right. You can bring your head all the way down if that's available. Then we'll inhale back through center. And we'll exhale and dip the right shoulder and look under or over the left. One more inhale back through center. Another exhale, dipping the left shoulder. One more inhale through center. And then dipping the right shoulder again. Inhale through center one last time. And then exhale and release. Bring your forehead to the mat. Hands are right underneath the heads of the shoulders. And now bring the hands a little further down so that they're more like next to the ribs and the elbows are pointing up. And then we're going to inhale, lift the upper body off the mat, keep the chin slightly tucked. The hands aren't pressing into the mat, but they are on the mat. And if you want, you can take them up slightly. And here we'll just breathe. And then exhale and lower the forehead. On your next inhale, we're going to lift up again. And again, we're pressing the legs into the mat here. And see if you can bring your shoulders toward each other like you're trying to get your elbows to touch. And then lower again as you exhale. And then take the hands behind your back, clasp the hands. And then as you straighten the arms, inhale and lift the whole upper body off the mat one more time. If it's available to you, take the legs up as well. But if it bothers your back or you feel any pinching or anything, lower the legs and just keep the upper body off the mat. Full deep breaths here. Elongate the neck by tucking the chin just slightly. And then slowly start to release. We're going to come back all the way down. Let the hands touch the lower back before releasing the hands down by your sides. Turn your head to one side and take a little break. Full deep breaths. And we're going to bring the left arm in front of our face, and the arm is going to be bent at a right angle. And then we're going to reach back and take the right ankle or foot. And we're just going to give ourselves a little quad stretch. Your forehead can rest on the forearm if you'd like, but you don't have to. And then release the right leg. We'll switch sides. We'll bring the right arm in front. Reach back and take the left ankle or foot. Bring that foot in towards the hip. Get a nice quad stretch on the other side. Full deep breaths. Then go ahead and release the other leg. And then we're actually going to bend both knees, reach back, take both feet and ankles, and come into a full bow pose. So whenever you're ready, reach back and take both. And then when you're ready to lift up, we'll inhale and take everything up. Full deep breaths. And then to come down, see if you can come down slowly, taking your time, releasing the legs, allowing them to come back to the mat. And then you can turn your head to the other side and take a little rest there. And slowly we're going to make our way back to tabletop. And then from your tabletop, we'll inhale the left arm up, and we'll exhale the left underneath the right. We'll come to rest on the head and shoulder. Nice supported twist. And the right hand can be right on the mat next to your face. Or you can take one of these different options. You can walk the arm forward if you'd like. You can even walk the fingers over to the left so that the arm is more over the ear, and that will increase some of the twist and also get a little more stretch into the underarm underneath the shoulder. And then the other options would be to take the right arm up towards the ceiling, to rest it on the lower back, or even wrap it around the waist. So feel that out, see which one is best for you. And as always, just keeping your hand on the mat next to your face is always fine. So it's just whatever your body is needing tonight. Full deep breaths. Let gravity do the work. And then slowly we'll start to bring the right hand back to the mat, right next to where your face is. Press the arm into the mat to come up, and we'll unravel from that. We'll take a full inhale and exhale here. Nice and slow. And then we'll take the right arm up with the next inhale, and we'll take the right arm under the left on the exhale. And again, choose one of the modifications. You can keep the left hand next to the face, or you can walk the arm forward and over to the right a little bit. Make sure that your shins are parallel and your hips are even. You can also take the left arm up towards the ceiling, or rest it on the lower back or around the waist. Again, noticing the breath. Keep the belly soft here. And letting gravity do the work. And then when you're ready, we'll bring the left hand back to the mat next to the face. Press into the mat to come up. Back into tabletop. And then we'll take 4 cat-cows here. Even though we did a little bit earlier, it's always nice to do it like this. So as we inhale, we let the belly drop. And look up. Gaze is up. The chest is up. And then as we exhale, we're rounding the back. Pressing the arms into the mat. Again, go at your own pace, so inhaling, allowing the belly to drop. And then exhaling, bringing the chin to the chest. We'll do 2 more. Again, at your own pace. And after you finish your 4th, we'll make our way into downward facing dog at your leisure. Just kidding. We're going to do it now, and then we're going to press the hands into the mat, curl the toes under, and press the hips up and back. Keep the knees bent if you need to, or at least keep them bent in the beginning so that we can get the right position, so that we can move the hips up and back. We can get more length in the spine by pressing the arms into the mat as if we're trying to press the mat away from us, And biceps in towards the ears. Nice long spine. And then when you're settled into it, maybe try to bring the legs towards straight, but you don't ever really have to, because this is for the spine, not the legs. Full deep breaths. And then let's walk the feet towards the hands. Keep the feet hips width apart. We're going to come into ragdoll. So keep the knees bent and just let the upper body hang down. Your hands can be on the mat or you can grab opposite elbows. Check in with the neck. Maybe shake your head yes and no. And just see how loose you are, if you can let go a little more or not. And then start playing with the weight of the body by shifting the weight from maybe one foot to the other or the front of the foot to the back of the foot. And let the upper body just hang loose and maybe even swing around a little bit and sway like seaweed. Checking in with the neck again. And then releasing the hands and bringing the hands to the front of the shins and just gently walking the arms up the legs and coming up to standing. Beautiful. And then from here, we'll inhale both arms up. Grab the left wrist with the right hand and exhale over to the right. Get a little more side stretch here. Press both feet into the mat. And then we'll inhale back to center, switch hands. And gently exhale over to the left. Again, pressing both feet into the mat, nice and strong legs here. And then again, inhale back up to center. Exhale, release your hands in front of the heart. And then into Tadasana. Then from here, we'll come to the front of the mat. Keep the feet hips width apart. And we're just going to step back with the right foot. We don't have to go too far. We're going to bring both arms behind our back. You can either do prayer pose or take opposite elbows like we just did in our ragdoll pose. And here we're going to inhale up towards the ceiling. And then we'll exhale and come forward. And we're not going to fold all the way down. We're just going to come until our torso is parallel to the floor. Full deep breaths. And then on the next inhale, we're going to press the legs into the mat to slowly come up as we inhale. And then we'll release the hands and just bring them to the waist for now. And let's take that right foot back a little bit. We're going to come into Warrior Two. So see if that front heel is lined up with the arch of the back foot. And we'll just bend the front knee. We'll take the arms out by our sides. And we're looking past the fingers of the left hand. Make sure you can see the big toes and bring your shin to be perpendicular to the floor. And we'll breathe. Then we'll inhale and straighten the front leg. Right arm comes to the back of the right leg, and the left arm comes up and over, so we're coming into crescent. And then we're pressing again the legs into the mat. We're going to reach up and over with the left arm. So we have our arms up by our sides again, and then we're going to come forward. We're not going to do full triangle. We're going to come into half triangle. So that left hand is just going to be on the inside of the left thigh. And then the right arm is up towards the ceiling. So your gaze can be up at the ceiling, or neutral, or even looking down, depending on how your neck feels today. That front knee can be a little bit bent. And then we'll press the legs in. We're going to come up and over with the arms. Turn both feet towards the front. We'll take the arms behind our back, clasp our hands, and then we're going to straighten the arms. Inhale, look up. And as we exhale, we're going to fold forward. The knees can be bent a little bit here. And the arms are going to come up and over behind you. And how far they go doesn't matter. If you're feeling the stretch, you're feeling the stretch, and you're doing it right. Full deep breaths. And then bring the clasped hands to the lower back. Release the hands, and then bring them down to the mat. See if you can bring the hands in line with the feet. And if you want to play around with the width of the feet here, you can. If you want to adjust or bring them in closer, it's up to you. And then lower the head again. Maybe even pressing into the outer edges of the feet here. It's really easy to let the feet pronate in this position, so just be mindful of that. And then we're going to lift up to a half back with straight arms. Bring your hands to your waist. And then slowly inhale all the way back up. Beautiful. And then we're going to go to the other side. So we're actually going to take that back leg and just kind of pop it up forward so that we're in the front of the other side of the mat, or wherever you are, as long as you're at the top of the mat. And then this time we're going to take the left leg back. So you don't have to come too far. And we'll take the arms behind us, and either in a prayer position or holding on to opposite elbows. Inhale and lift the chest and the gaze. And then exhale and fold halfway. That front knee can be bent if you need it to. And then on your next inhale, we're going to press the legs into the mat and press to come up. Release the arms, and then we're going to move that right leg over a little bit so that we're lining up the heel with the arch on the other side. And again, how far you go is up to you. You know your warriors by now. We're going to come into warrior two on this side, so we're bending the front leg. We're reaching the arms out, and we're looking over the right hand. Make sure you can still see your big front toe. Full deep breaths. On your next inhale, we'll straighten the front leg, and we'll let both arms swing behind us like we did the first time. So the left arm is on the back of the left leg, and then the right arm is up and over. Beautiful. And then we'll inhale the right arm up and over one more time. Both arms are outstretched. We're going to come into a half triangle again. So we're just going to come forward a little bit and then come into that half triangle. So we're not trying to reach all the way down. It's just a little bit safer. That left arm reaches up towards the ceiling, and the gaze can be up at the ceiling, or the gaze can be forward or looking down. And then we're going to press the legs into the mat, lift the arms up and over one more time. Come back to center. So first we'll have both feet facing forward, and then when we do that, then we're going to bring the heels in so that the toes are pointing out, about 45-degree angle. Hands can stay on your waist for now, and we'll come into a high squat. Beautiful. And then we're going to take the hands to the upper thighs. Press into the upper thighs and then lift up with the crown of the head. So we're getting length in the spine. You might end up leaning forward to do this. And then we'll inhale, again, getting length. And as you exhale, we're going to do what we did earlier. We're going to dip that left shoulder and look over the right. And then we'll inhale back to center. As we exhale, we're going to dip the right shoulder and look over the left. You can be pressing against that inner thigh here. Inhaling back to center, get nice and long. We'll exhale one more time by dipping the left shoulder, looking over the right. Inhale back through center, and then dip the right shoulder once more. Then inhale through center. Bring your hands in front of your heart and start to squat all the way down. Take your time, adjust the feet, do what you need to do. I have a little dance that I do. I feel like a little spider when I'm doing it. No falling, Bianca. I'm just teasing. A little comic relief. And then once we're in, you can sit on a block, whatever you need to do. Just make sure that your elbows are on the insides of the legs, of the upper thighs. We're pressing the hands in front of the heart, but then we're lifting the crown of the head again. So we're getting length in the spine. So we're not squishing down at all. We're getting really long here. Full deep breaths. Doesn't matter if the heels are on the floor or not. And then we're going to release and come down. We're going to skip crow today. So we'll just gracefully come down on our own, which means however you want to do it is fine. It's not a performance, so it doesn't matter. And of course, I'm already running out of time, which I hate, so we'll just start to wrap it up. We'll take the legs out in front, both feet flexed, hips width apart, or thereabouts. And then we inhale the arms up overhead. Get some length in the spine and then slowly fold forward. And again, the knees can be bent here, and you can even have something underneath if you want to roll up a blanket or something. I'll even do that on mine. And then wherever the hands land, they land. So if they land on the shins, that's fine. If you can reach the ankles, fine. Toes, whatever you can reach. Full deep breaths. And then we'll slowly release the forward fold. You can bring your hands to the outside of the legs and just slowly walk the arms up. You can move the blanket if you did use it. And then we'll bring the left leg in and we'll cross over the right. So again, keeping the extended leg flexed, and then we'll reach out with the right arm, hug the knee into the chest, and turn and twist and look over the left shoulder. Full deep breaths. Lifting the chest a little bit as you inhale, and then twisting a little deeper as you exhale. And then on your next exhalation, we're going to slowly turn back towards the front. Take your time. And then we'll switch sides. And we'll cross the right over the left. And that right foot is flat on the mat. Both feet are pressing into the mat actually, so the heel of the left foot is pressing into the mat and the calf, and then the whole sole of the right foot is pressing into the mat. And then we're going to take that left arm out and hug that knee and gently twist over to the right, lifting the chest as you inhale, twisting as you exhale. Nice full deep breaths, and make sure that you can breathe fully and deeply, and if you can't, back out a little bit. Notice what's happening here in the spine. Notice what's happening in the muscles around the rib cage. And then on your next exhale, again, we're going to come back to the front. So just take your time. We will release. And then we're going to come onto our backs. Again, take your time. And the first thing we're going to do is hug the knees into the chest because that's our favorite. Give yourself a little rock, a little back and forth. And then let's bring the feet to the mat, and I know we're running late, but I didn't do any good hip stuff, so we're going to cross the right leg over the left, and we're going to bring the ankle to the upper left thigh, and then bring both legs in towards the chest. So the hands can clasp behind the left thigh, and if you can't reach, you can just reach up and over to the left knee, and we'll just bring everything in and breathe. Then we'll slowly release this side and come to the other side. So the right foot will come to the mat, the left foot will cross over the right upper thigh, and slowly bring everything in. Again, keeping both feet flexed and engaged. And bringing the right leg in towards the chest. Full deep breaths. Noticing which side is different, and never pushing or forcing. And then slowly we'll release this one. And for our final pose, let's do Happy Baby, which we don't often do as a final pose. But before you come into Happy Baby, maybe grab both feet and bring the soles of the feet together, so we can squeeze in a little bit of a groin stretch here. You can do 2 or 3 breaths. And then whenever you're ready, you can take the insides of the arches. Some people take the toes, whatever you can reach, and we'll do a little Happy Baby. You don't have to rock, but if it feels good, you can. Basically, you're just bringing the knees out towards the armpits. This is really nice for the hips, as well as the lower back. And then we'll go ahead and release, and we'll bring the legs out in front. We'll get ready for Shavasana. So if you have a blanket or anything that you want to use, feel free to grab it and get comfortable. And if you don't, that's fine. We'll just take the legs out in front. And let the legs just be a little wider than normal, and let the feet fall naturally away from each other. We'll just start by letting go of the breath. No more deep, deep breaths. You can just be with the natural rise and fall of your breath. And start to let the feet and the legs feel heavy and just sink into the mat. Notice all the points of contact along the back side of the body and how fully supported you are by this mat and by the floor underneath and the ground underneath that. And softening the pelvis and the sacrum. Noticing the little curve in your lumbar spine. And softening the belly and the abdomen area and the area of the chest and around the heart. And softening the shoulders and the shoulder blades. Relaxing the neck and the jaw. Releasing the tongue if it's stuck to the roof of the mouth. And soften the muscles of the face, of the cheeks, around the eyes and between the eyes. And slowly we will start to bring awareness back to the room. Just maybe taking a full deep breath to start. maybe just wiggling fingers and toes. Just taking our time and waking up the body a little at a time. You can take the arms up overhead, give yourself a nice stretch as if you just woke up from a nap, which you kind of did. Just enjoying that. And maybe bend the knees and bring your feet to the mat before rolling over to the right. And take your time there too. Maybe even bring your forehead to the floor so that the third eye touches your arm or the floor in front of you. You can linger here as long as you'd like. It's probably one of my favorites. And then eventually we'll make our way back up to sitting. We'll close our practice with hands in front of the heart. As always, thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm so happy to see you here. And thanks for coming out tonight. Well, being in your house tonight. And may we all be happy, may we all be peaceful, and may we all be free from suffering. Namaste.